Hello everyone. Let's have more news about the Warriors. But first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Warriors predicted to trade Jonathan Kuminga to struggling West team for former $194 million superstar. It was a disappointing end to the 2024-25 NBA season for the Golden State Warriors as they were eliminated by the Minnesota Timberwolves in the second round of the playoffs. Of course, Golden State was without their star point guard, Stephen Curry, for most of the series due to a hamstring injury. And with him sidelined, the rest of their roster struggled. Because of this, Golden State could be in line to make some major changes to their roster in the off-season. And they also have a major decision to make regarding their young forward, Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga was benched early on in the playoffs after head coach Steve Kerr mentioned that he did not like his fit next to Butler in the rotation. Kerr eventually inserted Kuminga back in the rotation after Kerr's injury during the second round where he led the Warriors in scoring. Despite this, Kuminga's role on the Warriors is unclear in the near future. And with him being a restricted free agent this summer, many expect them to either let him walk or agree to a sign-and-trade deal with another team. Bleacher Report's Andy Bailey recently predicted that the Warriors would send Kuminga via sign-and-trade to the Phoenix Suns in the off-season to reunite with their former superstar Kevin Durant. In the trade, Bailey has Durant headed to Golden State while the Warriors send Kuminga, Buddy Hield, Moses Moody, Brandon Pimsky, and a 2027 first-round pick to Phoenix. This would be an interesting trade for the Warriors to make, especially after they acquired Butler at the trade deadline in February. Of course, it was reported that Golden State tried to acquire Durant at the trade deadline before landing Butler, but with them having to give up a ton of their young talent in this deal, it would not make much sense for the Warriors due to Durant being in the final years of his career. Despite this, adding an aging Durant to pair alongside Curry, Butler and Draymond Green could help the Warriors compete for a championship next season, but it would also have a major impact on the future of the franchise once they all retire. Now, let's go to another video. Don't forget to leave a like. The shooter that Steph is in this league he puts him up at a super high volume and he's been nothing but consistent over the last few seasons. I mean dating back to 21-22 where he spent half his season in San Antonio with a ring away, then goes to the Boston Celtics, makes the NBA Finals. He was shot inefficiently from deep, but then the 3 seasons that followed he was knocked the F down and he's become a 15 to 16 point per game scorer. Took on a much bigger role with the Boston Celtics this year as kind of their third scoring option, primarily with how Chris Porzingis is in and out of the lineup and what have you. Derrick White shows up and he shows up on both ends of the floor, man. He has been averaging over a block a game over the past 2 seasons and he leads the NBA in blocks for players 6'4" or below over the past 3 or 4 seasons. It is unreal what he's able to do on both ends of the floor and has really taken strides as a playmaker as well this past season and the one before, averaging 5 assists a night. And I mean, I talked about it already, but this guy can straight up put the pill in the cup from 3. It's basically odd. Every time I see Derrick White throw up a 3-point shot, I think it's more likely to go in than it isn't. From the corner last season, shot 118 attempts, 44%. Above the break, it was okay. It was better than average. I'll tell you what. Way better than average. 37% on above the break threes, and he took 570 of them? And then pull up 3%. Wasn't great, but again, better than most. 35%. This is a guy who was knocked down wherever you put him on the 3-point line. And he has extended range, too. Don't be afraid of Derrick, or I guess, do be afraid of Derrick White pulling from 30 feet out. He can absolutely get it done. And personally, I would trade a ton for Derrick White. I think he is as valuable of a role player as there is in the NBA. And yes, I'm calling a 16-point per game scorer, 5 assists, a block a night guy role player, but like he's not a superstar level guy. He's not a guy making a supermax contract at this point. So, he's about as good as he gets for high-level role players in this league. And I would trade a lot to go get him. I give away multiple future first-round picks. I give away Jonathan K in the signing trade. I give away Pods. I give away Moody. I give away. I don't care. Get me Derrick White and Golden State and we'll figure the rest out. The only issue to this whole situation is boss is not trading Derrick White. They've made it clear and according to multiple reports that they're more inclined to be trading Drew Holiday this summer than they are to have Derrick White on the trade block. He feels like somebody to them who's going to be a part of the long-term process here with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Those feel like the three untouchables for the Boston Celtics right now. And I'm not so sure that Derrick White will even be introduced in any trade conversations, especially with the Golden State Warriors who might not have the best package for him. What do you guys think though? Should the Warriors trade for Derrick White? I want to hear from you guys down in the comments section. Be Mike Dunley for me. Type T for trade, type P for pass on whether or not that you think Derrick White would be a prime trade target for your Golden State Warriors. Next up, we're going to talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo as the rumors are heating up and he's fueling a little bit of the fire himself, that Greek freak. We'll talk about him in just a moment, but first I got to give a huge shout out to our sponsor and that is Prize Picks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports platform because it's daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. All you guys got to do is pick a lineup of 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on their projected stats whether it's basketball. Before we get into whether or not there's anything materializing here, I want to preface with this quote from Mike Dunleavy where he talks about adding Jimmy Butler and the future that they have around this core in place right now. He said, "I feel better going into the season having a guy like Jimmy on our roster. We'll build around that with him, Steph, and Draymond, and some other players that we have. Overall, I feel like we're in a much better shape than we were a year ago." And to be honest, I agree with Mike Dowie 100%. Like the Warriors won more games, they made it further in the playoffs, and they added more top-end talent than they had back in last year around this time. If we just look at it from a side-by-side view, are the Warriors better back then or now? Back in May 2024, they still had Andrew Wiggins coming in on the roster and then it was Klay Thompson, Chris Paul, Dario Saric. Each of those players all left in free agency. And then in May 2025, you have players like Jimmy Butler, who obviously we know has made an incredible impact and was the catalyst to Golden State making the playoff run that they did. Buddy, he had some big time games in the postseason, had an elevated role in round 2, which kind of limited him a little bit, but he has been an absolute factor for Golden State. And then Quinten Post, an impact rookie as well. Really made his stance known down the stretch of the regular season, hitting a bunch of threes, playing solid interior defense for the most part, but kind of got exposed when in the playoffs against some more talented big men. But you look at the additions versus subtractions, you end up winning 2 more games and making the Western Conference semifinals. Hell yeah, the team is better now than it was then. But if you want to make it even better, I'm not so sure you'll be able to keep all of the talent that you have on the roster now. Specifically, the talent that makes the most money on a Golden State's payroll. Like Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond. Steph and Jimmy are making $50 million apiece. You're really not in the spot to be able to carry 3 $50 million contracts on the roster. That's the entire salary cap. Literally the entire salary cap. You wouldn't have any money to pay anybody else, So, in a Giannis trade, I'm not sure that you can keep all three of those guys. I feel like one of them definitely has to go in a deal. And Brian Winher of ESPN, I don't know how much I believe this, but according to Winhorse, he says that Golden State has the assets for a Giannis trade. Now, I will give Wendy a little bit of credit here because he didn't just outright say that Golden State would have an A-plus package for Giannis. He, as a matter of fact, said that they would be at the kind of bottom of the bidding war potentially. He said this, the Lakers, and I had to cut it off. It didn't fit in the quote, but he said, the Lakers, I want to make that clear. And the Warriors could not win the bidding war if the market's open. No way they could win a bidding war. If Giannis went in and said, though, I want to be with Steph Curry. That's who I want to play with. Is there a deal that I think could happen between those two teams? Yes. I would be lying to you if I told you the Warriors couldn't trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's possible. Is it probable? Number. But damn, it would be a hell of a lot of fun. A Steph, Jimmy, Giannis trio wins the title. I'm sorry. No way fans are buzzed about it. I think if the Warriors were fully healthy and Steph plays in round 2, they end up making the Western Conference Finals, and then who knows what happens against OKC. But a Steph Jimmy Giannis trio, that's cutting down nets. That's bringing a Larry back to the Bay Area. Cuz Giannis, I don't have to tell you guys about how good the damn guy is. Back-to-back seasons, 30, 12, 60% shooting. Guess what? Before 23-24. That's never been done before. 30 points, 10 plus rebounds, 60% shooting. I actually don't think 30 points on 60% shooting had ever happened in the NBA. Giannis went out there and did it in back-to-back seasons. And we know the type of gravity that he has. Defenses collapse in. He's hacked all the time. They constantly send him to the free throw line and count down from 10. But what this guy does at the end of the day is fill up a stat sheet and wins. He has a championship and he's looking to build his hardware collection. I think that could happen in Golden State, but at the same time, other teams are going to have way better packages. I mean, I didn't even think about this before we filmed the video, but I'll just rattle off some teams right now. Spurs, Thunder, Rockets, there's 3 right there in the West. That's all I have to say. Other teams will have way better packages for Giannis than the Warriors will. It's going to come down to probably this right here. Giannis must demand Golden State. And that's kind of what Brian Wynn has said. And the Bucks must listen. And do I think this is gonna happen? Maybe half of it. I don't know. Milwaukee, yes, it would be nice if they honored Giannis and honored his wishes and all that stuff, but the end of the day, they're running a business. Are they going to take a Miles worth package? Because that's what I think it would be. I think it would be a Miles worth worse package than what an OKC, San Antonio, or Houston could go out there and throw just to cater to Giannis when their team's gonna be a dumpster fire for years to come. I just don't think that's the best course of business for them. And who knows if Giannis would actually demand a trade to Golden State. He hasn't even demanded a trade at all yet. But let's talk about some of those comments that Giannis made about Steph on Twitter. He was having an AMA and asked me anything. This is crazy that Giannis is going to do this while these trade rumors are flying around him, but he just got out there and made some fun out of it all. But this was a quick one. He said, "Hey Giannis, who's the greatest point guards of all time?" He said, "Steph." He's a Steph Magic and Isaiah Thomas. So he's gotten praise for the greats there. He also went out there and talked about his all-time starting 5 where he had Steph, MJ, Kobe, KD, and LeBron, which is kind of crazy. He's got LeBron at the 5. I don't know. I don't know if Giannis was listening to the question or not, or he's ranked his top 5 of all time. If he's ranking his top 5 all time, he's got Steph there. He might be a Warrior. But another one, he says, who do you like playing the most with on 2K, Kobe or Steph? Another high praise comment for Curry. And then finally, he says, thoughts on Steph Curry. Just went out there and just made it abundantly clear here. Shot to say, he said, him and Dame, greatest shooters of all time. So, he had to show love to his current teammate, but clearly he's got a lot of praise and a lot of admiration for number 30. What do we feel about all this? Like, how are we feeling about a Giannis Golden State trade at this point? I think it's got to be a lot closer to 1 than 100, but what's your confidence level at this point? 1 mean there's no chance it happens. Get this out of your brain. 100 means he's already wearing a Warriors jersey. Let me know in the comments section what you guys think. The bottom line to me is this. I do not think that the Warriors are going to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo this summer. And it is for this reason only. Well, 1, they don't really have the finances to be able to get it done cleanly and have a solid depth on the roster. It's an issue that Golden State faced this year. It's an issue that the Milwaukee Bucks actually faced as well with their payroll. And the Warriors, according to all reports that we've seen so far, aren't looking to add another marquee player, another superstar, another number 2 or even borderline number 1 next to Steph and Jimmy. They're looking to add more around the margins, add better role players that can better support this cast and just be able to knock down shots when these guys draw in a lot of defense. So, they're not going out there to try to evaluate Jonathan Kuminga, right? Like, we all know his talent. We all know what we believe. We all believe he could be. But now you have to make a huge financial commitment. Like it won't be JK at whatever his number is now. Like it's a huge financial. So that has to look different for everybody, right? That has to look different for JK first and foremost. He's the athlete, right? Like he's the one that got to do the work. He the one that got to sign the contract. So it has to look different for him first and foremost, right? From an organizational standpoint. All of that stuff has to come together. And I love JK's answer in this press conference. He said, listen. We all got to sit down. We got to figure it out. It's going to take a while to figure it out. Free agency does take a while. It's going to take a while to figure this out. He said, but I appreciate Coach Kirk because he's helped me get here where I am at. And man, that was such a responsible, great, well-thought answer because it's true. Question or answer because it's true. Like, has it always gone the way you want it to go? Number. But that's probably what 99% of basketball players in the NBA. If you talk to a guy, most guys are going to tell you, I could do more of this. They don't let me. Like, that's just the nature of what we do. Right. So, we all have our trials and tribulation, our peaks and our valleys, right? His valley was more on Front Street for everybody. Yes, but we all have our peaks and our valleys. And the reality is what he said is correct. I loved the way he handled it. One thing's for certain, I said this in my ex-interview. Whether it's here or somewhere else, he going to get paid and he going to have a very bright future. So, I don't think he has anything to worry about. Everybody know what he's capable of. He will get paid here or he will get paid somewhere else. That's it. And that's all. And so I think the future for him is as bright as it's ever been. Earlier this season, you talked about guaranteeing the championship. You know, you guys, I believe, And I'm not making excuses. I think, with Steph, you had a good chance. So, you put yourself in an elite category earlier this season as well. Steph mentioned about the last ride, right? And then he recently mentioned that he wants the ride to last as long as possible. Right. So now with Jimmy right now headed into the off-season, are you back in this championship pedigree or championship guaranteed pedigree? It wasn't Cat right now. That was speaking from what you guys felt and earlier in the season. It was more so we just want to have an opportunity and then now it's different, right? Yeah, I think it's definitely different. I think our mindset going into next year will be that going into every year. I think every team say, yo, we want to compete for a championship and when that real and when it's not for real. And the reality is for most people it's very fake and not real. Real damn really early. I personally believe and wholeheartedly and we all do that we will be right the next year giving ourselves a shot at it just like we was giving ourselves a shot at we gave our shot ourselves or shot at it this year. And I think we will retool and make the roster make even more sense and come back. And also I think another thing that I'm looking forward to is we get to play a whole year so we come out, we can take care of business and we ain't got to play catch up all year, like we've been in the playoffs since February. Like every game mattering. Yeah? Intensity level. Like we've been in the playoffs since February just to get to the moment. And so I think for us now being able to go through a full season and obviously you need to stay healthy and all of those things like we can put ourselves in better position to be successful. And I think, that'll be big for us. But the goals will be the goals, which is coming out. Competing, trying to win a championship. That will be our goal 1000%. I do believe we are capable of that. I stand on that 100%. So, Jimmy, Steph, myself, we'll all be in the weeds, trying to make it all make sense, for what we believe we need, what it needs to look like. We'll be in the weeds. So, yeah? Right back at man. And if you all want to include me, I'm up, for assistant to the assistant GM. And if I would to put my GM hat on, just saying what you all need, I would say you just need dynamic athleticism and you need somebody with some game like somebody like you need somebody that's, you need that wild card score, that threat that whether he's 68 and get to the hole. Just somebody who's just a scoring machine to the basket, catch three. Just somebody who just hey man if this dude get hot we definitely win it right. And then I would say dynamic athleticism right 610 versatility 7-foot shot blocker that can run to the rim and dump just a few little pieces like that. Cues when you think about now the way the league is transitioning is getting back to the bigs is getting back to the dominant power forces getting back to second chance shots are the shots that are going to beat you. So, long threes, a lot of threes, long rebounds, but second chance points, rebounds, that's always going to be the deciding factor. And I just think for their Warriors, a little small, little slow, right? But elite talent. And if you can mix some of that with, some hyperactivity and some strong athleticism, and people that can get to the rim, you'll all be unstoppable. You talked about getting in the weeds, right? You, Steph, and Jimmy getting in the weeds. You don't do that usually or ever outside of the KD. You got in the weeds, got KD. So when you say, I'm getting in the weeds. Yeah? You just got to be body got to be involved. You just got to have the conversations, man. You got to, cues at the end of the day, when you're trying to compete for a championship, the front office may think they need to bring in a guy that like, yo, I play against this guy, like he ain't it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's when I say like you got to get in the weeds like there's just some, because again like I said, I think we filled out the roster at the top, and so with that being one of the toughest things, like now you need guys like yo man, when we play against this guy I love when they bring that team bring that guy on the court, now we gonna go sign him, like now you don't want that guy and so when I say get in the weeds, like that's what I mean. Like you got to give some input at times, because what can be seen from the stands or what can be seen from some numbers, and it ain't always what it seems when you're trying to compete for a championship. And sometimes the dude that that plays great against you, and maybe that the dude you all looking for is sitting on somebody bench that's super talented and playing behind one of these 1 or 2 scorers. The league is full of scores, and the league is full of versatile scores. And I think the ability to bring someone into the game that can get their own money and get money for other people just by default, right, is going to be a game changer for you guys, because you already have highly talented, skilled guys that can catch and shoot, penetrate and shoot. You all learning how to make plays for each other, but you meet that one dude that's like, man, if he pump fake and get to the middle of the paint, he gonna try and dunk or finish or do something different, right? You need kind of like a counter. So, the attack is not the same diet every time. And that's where I'm thinking like someone 68-69 that can really get out here and put some points on the board. And that's all who's a comp or somebody, because to me it sound like you're explaining like a superstar. So who is a comp or someone you're speaking of? Like if I were to comp like on the guard side, I say like someone like a Lou Williams, like somebody who is just dynamic at getting their own money, give him the ball, get out the way. If he cooks, we win every time 'cause he know how to hoop. And then I say on the other side, like who is the next Pascal Siakam, or who is the next kind of a Pascal Siakam, make $45 million. No, number. I'm saying that there's a young dude that plays like that on one of these teams, right? Are some of these young dudes on Portland, right? Charlotte got a couple young dudes that I'd say on the guard side, like Thrayman. If you all got him from Charlotte, that's somebody like that from the guard perspective. On the big guy side, even a Sims or Mitchell Robinson, somebody that's just got the dude the Lakers didn't want, the Charlotte kid like Mark. Yeah, somebody big, just you need a big athletic person that can come in and play a lot of junk minutes, right? And a lot of glue minutes, because they'll be able to get a dunk. They have a big game, 18 rebounds, 14 rebounds, then it kind of take a lot of pressure off of the impact that you're going to have on your body next year. So, I would bring in a bunch of young athletic dudes on top of the young dudes I got, but just kind of like dynamic talent that can just be the force you all need to get through the season, so you're not banged up by the playoffs. No doubt. And then in the playoffs now you got the hype. You used to have the hype when you all was winning the championships. Why had the height, the size, and then when you all go small it was a wrap. Now you got to kind of get your hype athleticism back in that front court. What's up, our fans? We got some great news. We're thrilled to announce that the new show merchandise is available. The site is now live, so you can check it out and grab your favorites. Go to thegshow.com. That's thegshow.com. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a QR code. One rumored target may be perfect answer to fill Warriors' biggest off-season need season. The Golden State Warriors could look to a proven veteran center to solve their long-running issues at the center position after the momentum the Golden State Warriors had built after acquiring Jimmy Butler at the NBA trade deadline. Losing in the second round of the NBA playoffs to the Minnesota Timberwolves could have been how the team envisioned the season ending. As they head into the off-season, there's one rumored target who could make a ton of sense considering the team's biggest need, and that's Brook Lopez. Despite the success the Warriors sustained after the NBA All-Star break, the team did have one of the thinnest front courts in the league. Even despite Draymond Green's versatility and production, their Warriors could have used a strong presence at the center position during their playoff run. As he prepares to hit free agency, Lopez could emerge as a natural target for any veteran-laden team looking for a boost at the center position. According to ESPN's Bobby Marks, Lopez is one off-season target whom the Warriors can express interest in. Lopez in the latter stages of his career could be a gap solution for the Warriors next to Draymond. Banking on Lopez to stretch the floor and emerge as a rim-protecting center for 1 year wouldn't be the worst plan for the Warriors this summer, especially considering how much they may have to upgrade other positions, too. Up next, keep pay or let walk. The Nets' most important off-season decisions and other top stories from May 21, 2025. The Golden State Warriors could look to a proven veteran center to solve their long-running issues at the center position. After the momentum the Golden State Warriors had built after acquiring Jimmy Butler at the NBA trade deadline, losing in the second round of the NBA playoffs to the Minnesota Timberwolves could have been how the team envisioned the season ending. As they head into the off-season, there's one rumored target who could make a ton of sense considering the team's biggest need, and that's Brook Lopez. Despite the success the Warriors sustained after the NBA All-Star break, the team did have one of the thinnest front courts in the league. Even despite Draymond Green's versatility and production, their Warriors could have used a strong presence at the center position during their playoff run. As he prepares to hit free agency, Lopez could emerge as a natural target for any veteran-laden team looking for a boost at the center position. According to ESPN's Bobby Marks, Lopez is one off-season target whom the Warriors can express interest in. Lopez in the latter stages of his career could be a gap solution for the Warriors next to Draymond. Banking on Lopez to stretch the floor and emerge as a rim-protecting center for 1 year wouldn't be the worst plan for the Warriors this summer, especially considering how much they may have to upgrade other positions, too. Lopez is still productive for a 37-year-old and is coming off a season in which he averaged 13 points and 5 rebounds on 51% shooting from the field and 37% shooting from three-point range. In a small role, there's a reason to believe he could be a natural fit for Golden State, especially on a 1-year deal. The Golden State Warriors have work to do this off-season. Aside from trying to upgrade their depth in the front court, their Warriors may have a lot of other work they must get done. They have to figure out how to proceed with Jonathan Kuminga, who will likely be a sign-and-trade candidate. After refusing to sign him last off-season and then not trading him at the deadline, the Warriors find themselves in danger of losing him for nothing in free agency. In order to potentially avoid that disaster, their Warriors almost have to find a suitor that is willing to make a sign-and-trade work. In addition, their Warriors need to explore avenues to improve the depth of this team. One similarity between every squad that finds itself in the conference finals is their depth. If the Warriors want to re-emerge next season as a legit championship threat, they're going to need to find a path to adding more depth to the roster. That could be a lot easier said than done, but there's no question the Warriors will have their work cut out for them. If they're going to have any shot at winning another title with Steph Curry, they must push the right buttons this off-season. It might start with signing Lopez. And Ewan, what do you think about Brook Lopez's situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.